Bonus era. Hello, Skeletom, hi. I was not expecting to do a stream today, which is why I announced it really late in the day. I was originally planning to be traveling today, but we got one of those once-in-a-lifetime bomb cyclone nor'easters, which is a high-pressure system, or low-pressure system? Pressure differential, where there's a very, very high amount of wind in a blizzard. Third once-in-a-lifetime winter event we've got in the past month, so that's exciting. So, I'm here. I will probably not be here next weekend. I'll be doing the traveling then. Maybe. but I'm here for now. I've got a bunch of math that I need to fix in my plugin tonight, and you're all going to be my captive audience. I hope you brought your alcohol, because I sure did. Tonight's poison is Loverboy brand sparkling hard tea, lemon iced tea, kissed with ginger, 4.2% alcohol by volume. Not very much at all. Get this disgusting emote out of my chat. Bon, you monster. I'm certainly not drinking Dr. Pepper or Pepsi. I'm loath to think that. What is this? It's Pilk. It's the Pilk emoji. Pilk unenjoyer. Yeah, you got me. You got me. Alright, so, since the last time I ran this thing through its paces, some UX that has been changed as per user feedback. Instead of having every single input method in one big list here on this first page, it's now a drop-down, you know, in a way that makes sense. You pick one from the drop-down instead of having to do a checkbox. I mean, the Pilk emote isn't mine. That's from a different VTuber. But you could, in theory, share both if you subscribe to both of us. Okay, so we've got these in a drop-down, which is good. I'm told this is more intuitive. You can just pick the thing you want. Pretty good. There's a little arrow now to indicate which tab that you're on, because before it wasn't super clear. So we've got that now. What else? What else? When you make a new matcher thing, it defaults to going to the bottom instead of to the top, so you don't have to click a new one and scroll to the top of the list. That was sought after. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of UX. I feel like there must have been something else that I'd been looking at, but I don't remember what it was, so it couldn't have been that important. And then, so for today, I've got a bunch of math that I need to solve, but I think the first thing I'm going to tackle is there is a bug currently. So I've got these expression modules where you can trigger an expression after a threshold. When it goes above the threshold, it tells the emotion to activate, and when it goes back beneath the threshold, it'll deactivate. But the problem is, I'm going to go ahead and activate that. I'm going to crank my rate all the way up to like 170. If I then adjust this threshold to 190, the expression stays activated, even though now if I fall back beneath the original threshold of 170, it doesn't turn back off. So that can be a problem. I'd have to go all the way up to 190 and then back down for it to deactivate. So that is, I think, the first thing I'm going to tackle, which isn't really so much math. There's a bunch of math, though, that I do have to detangle. So let's get, I guess, cracking. Heart rate, which... named all these things stupidly, because I called them all heart rate whatever. Let's see. Okay. And then I'm going to go to... Gotta remember all my hotkeys now. Web dev. Yes code. There we go. Something I found out today, 5 minutes approximately before the stream started up, is that whatever update for OBS I installed has broken whenever I try and use, like, video capture groups, which is very bad, because that will block out my entire capture card setup. And so I'm doing app capture right now for VTube Studio, because the webcam for that also wasn't working. I think I need to roll back or see if there's yet another update for OBS, because, that's quite bad. I cannot use any of my capture cards with it currently, and I can't use the virtual webcam. Anytime I try and go and edit the settings of a video source input, it just crashes. So I have to imagine this is something that's fixed, because it's like the most basic usage of VTube Studio, OBS rather. Okay, so the math that I need to actually detangle is this shit right here. I'm going to try and make a class that will, consolidate some of this for me, because I'm doing it twice, basically. And what this is the math that I have that will calculate the new frequency for a oscillating input parameter, but only update the frequency once it's completed a full cycle. This is important because, say for the breathing parameter, you only want the frequency to increase well, I guess I just said that at the end of a cycle. If you do it during a cycle, you're basically stretching or compressing the waveform, which will result in like stuttering if you do it mid-cycle. So you need to wait for it to reach back to 0, and then you can start using the new frequency. And so that's why there's a bunch of ternaries and shit here. But it's super not readable. If only somebody I knew continually warned me against using ternaries, and if only I ever listened to them. So this is math that I need to detangle, and then I need to solve that threshold issue. So I guess I'll do the threshold one first, which is code is for that is right here. We have our list of expression modules, and we check if it's a true or false. If we say we should activate, does this work? Module should activate. Hold on. I feel like there's another bug here, because the should activate should say if it's turning the thing on or off. But this is actually not... Hold on. Okay, so going back to the app for a second. Yeah, I know. I personally think ternaries are pretty readable, but when it's literally just numbers, it needs like a comment, I feel like. Okay, so my module has an activate thing, and so the thought process here would be, like I can make a new expression trigger. This one's also for angry, and this is at, what was my other one? We're gonna kick this back down to 110, and then at 140, I would say deactivate. Your formatting was stripped. Yeah. Surprisingly, Twitch chat is not a great vessel for sharing code formatting. Okay, so what we have here is when my heart rate gets to 110, I get angry. And what's supposed to happen is when I get above it, it would deactivate because I have it set to turn the emote expression off. So looking at my code for even a second, I've discovered that there is a bug in what I'm trying to do. Ideally, it would turn on at 110, and then we've got deactivate at 140. And I think activate is not a good choice of word here, but I don't know how better to explain this, because it's not like I'm turning the whole module here off. I'm saying that the expression should deactivate at this threshold. I don't know how to better convey that. I'm open to ideas if anybody has any. But okay. I think that bug is easy to solve. I think we can get rid of this. And there's another... There we go. So we can get rid of the outer thing, and then we'd say set expression state is equal to, instead of true or false... So if the module threshold... Okay, so what do we have here? If the previous heart rate is less than the threshold, and the current heart rate, the new one, is greater than or equal to the threshold, we do set expression state is equal to module dot activate, should activate. And then I think for here it would just be the opposite. And I could probably compress this because it's doing the same thing in both counts. I could probably use the conditional to dictate what this value should be, but I'm not going to try and do that right now. I was just talking about not using ternaries, so one step at a time. Okay, so does this solve the issue? Let's find out. Okay, so inputs. Okay, I think it did. Okay, so we go up to 110, I'm angry, and go above 140, and it turns off. But now if I go beneath 140 again... Oh, it turns back on. Awesome. Okay, yes, that solves that bug. So the thought process here would be like, if you had like multiple tiers of, I don't know, sweating, or maybe you go from a lightly winded emote to like a dying emote, you know, somewhere around here. That would make sense to me. Okay, so Cool. These should... I think these aren't sorted. Okay, when these load, these aren't sorted in the same way. Which is bothersome. That's another thing we can fix. I told people I was going to be doing math today, but I lied to them. That's very easy to fix. So the problem was they're loading in linear order, but they should be going... Actually, wait, no, I don't understand why they're in that order. Because when you create a new one, it should go at the end of the previous list. And so when it loads it... So, like, the behavior I'm seeing... We were deceived. I mean, I'll get to the math eventually. Probably. Oh, and then the third piece of math is people were asking... So I've got a parameter that is the breathing rate based on heart rate. But this is just like a... this is based on... The frequency is based on a interpolation from 0 to 255. And doesn't actually have any... Or rather, the expected range doesn't have any bearing on how fast you're breathing. So people want me to fix that. Because I think that is not desirable. To me, it made sense. Like, no matter if you think that, you know, a resting rate of like 90 or 45 is your normal, I figured you'd still be breathing faster if you had a resting rate of 90, but people don't seem to like it. So I'll fix it. I will change it. Okay. So the behavior I was seeing is we have our expression trigger that we just made. This is the 140 deactivate one. And when we go to make a new one, they come in at the bottom, like this. So I would expect when they load in, the newest ones should also be at the bottom. And I don't understand why that isn't the case, because I would assume that when these are saved in a linear order, because it's just a list on the back end, and then we serialize them, I would think they'd be in the same order. Let's see. Inputs. Oh, right, no, that's on a per model basis now. Models. One of these is mine. This one. This one's me. Okay, so yeah, it looks like... Oh, VS Code, there we go. Hey, Raps, how's it going? Congratulations on your big debut, by the way. I'm gonna give you the... Raps. R-H-A-P-S. Perhaps. There we go. Last seen engaging in art. Yeah, good work. That was a powerful live 2D stream. I'm happy to see that you seem to have already found your niche. Congratulations, congratulations. Crying at live 2D. Yep, that's a niche. There are people who will pay good money to see that, for sure. Alright, so wait. If these are in a linear order like this, which is what I'd expect, why are they flipped when I load them in? Because it would do this one, and then the next one should just go beneath it. Why? Why? Whose emote is this? It's a good emote. They look very flustered. Okay, so we can solve this though. So when we load model data, we iterate over every expression module in our expressions, and we create the expression module. What does this do? So this would go over the first one we made, and I would think this would put it at the bottom of the list. And then we go over the second one we make, and we put it at the bottom of that list. So why are they loading backwards? I don't understand. I don't understand at all. If I were to flip the list, would that suddenly work? That'd be really weird if that solved the problem. What's the container type for expressions? It's just a C# list. Or if you're, you mean actually like on the save data itself? That's a good question. I hate having VS Code zoomed in all the way. Yeah, it's just a list of JSONs. So, I mean, order is preserved. As we see right here, the order is the one I made first, and the one I made second. And then we have our thing that loads them. Load model data. We just iterate over every expression module in expressions. I'm assuming the JSON serializer we have preserves order, though I guess I can't prove that easily without hooking up a debugger, which I haven't done. And I don't really care to do that right now, so I'm going to actually focus on one of the things I said I was going to focus on, because this is a very low-tier issue, I think. I don't think this is actually very important. So what's next? What's next? I wanted to... Oh, yeah. Alright, so we have our rising and falling edge for expressions. That was here. Problem is if the threshold changes between, or like becomes greater than what it was previously, and the expression is activated, it will not deactivate. So how do we solve this? We would need some way to know what the previous threshold value was for each module, and then we'd also need a way to know what the new one is. And okay, let's whiteboard this. Int prior threshold equals 0 for the sake of having a variable to work with here. So here we're saying if the heart rate's greater than the threshold and the new heart rate is, or prior heart rate's less than the threshold, new one is greater than the threshold, we want to either turn on or turn off the expression. And we want to negate this. We want to do this. There's so many negations. This is tricky to think about. If the prior threshold is not equal to the current, so it would be like else if prior threshold is not equal to module should activate is false. Selected expression should never be set, right? No. False means that you want to turn the... so this is, I think, bad terminology. Going back to the app, I will demonstrate. Oh, I left it running. I shouldn't have done that. It's going to be unhappy. So we have our list of outputs here. So activate here, should activate, means... are we activating the expression or not? So, again, to use this example, I've got a expression trigger at a threshold of 110, which turns on my angry expression, and then I've got a second trigger at 140 that turns it back off. So it's not saying it should never activate, it's specifically saying send VTube Studio a request to turn this expression off, regardless of whether or not it's on already. This just says, please turn it off, which is a thing you can do. Yeah. And so now I'm trying to workshop it so that if I'm at, say, so I crank it up to 110, 120, whatever. If I were to then change this activate threshold to 130, which I have not passed yet, the desired behavior would be that the expression now turns off because I'm no longer over the threshold for telling this to activate. Though I was over the threshold for telling it to activate when it activated, I no longer am, and so users would like this to turn the expression back off, because the only way now to turn it off is to get over the new threshold and then back beneath it again. So I hope that clears things up. I hope that makes the stated task a little more clear. Bad terminology for sure. I definitely think I need a better verb than activate in this case, but I don't know a succinct way to phrase it. I'm very, very much open to suggestions. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, Ah, right. It's super early for you. I don't know why you stay up so late. I appreciate it. It's nice to have company, but I feel like that can't be good for you, can it? All right. Uh, all right. I'm a little bit struggling here. I think. Okay, so I feel like it would be helpful to not have this be an if statement, because I feel like this Boolean. No, it does have to be a conditional. And I need some way to check the prior threshold, whatever it was, the last frame. And if it's not that anymore, you want to do the well, okay. So and the thank you for the Skeletom give pizza. Hold on, I need to strike some sense into my head. There we go. Gotta do it to myself. I don't know. This is really tricky. Thank you. It's the only way. Eventually, the correct idea will be shaken loose. I thought this would be like a walk in the park, but I'm gonna be just saying all night. Because there's no catch-all for this. It's if the module is set up this way, where the heart rate is less than. So wait, heart rate's less. I'm gonna keep repeating this to myself over and over again. Makes for really good content, I suppose. If the prior heart rate is less than the threshold, and the new heart rate is greater than or equal to the threshold, we then okay, hold on, I'm gonna leave comments. I need to do this. Okay. Reset the module. Yeah. I think that makes sense. First time chat. Oh, thank you, Bon. Did I get invaded from Phantom Spirit? Big follows. Is that I totally missed it. Thank you. Quick draw. I got excited because I looked over and said, first time chat from a viewer, and they've been deleted. Alas. Well, thank you, big follows. Okay, so this resets the module. So I feel like... that was the first time bots. Yeah. I feel like... So my condition here would be... Because my goal here is to reset. If, prior threshold is not equal to module.threshold, or I think that would do it. Because now I was thinking about this before. I was like, this is the one for when we have a module set to activate, and this is when we have to deactivate. But that's not true. This triggers any module, even if it's telling it to turn the expression off, because the thing that's tripping me up is thinking about activation sometimes being a negation of something. In this case, we trigger the module here, we reset the module here, and in the case that the threshold changes, even if it's higher or lower, we want to reset the module. I think. Wait, no, but no, that's not right. That doesn't solve my problem, because if I go back to Unity, I can do something like this. Oh wait, I probably just broke this. Let me get rid of that code for a second, because that's not correct. Because the other end of this is that I could have over here, when it loads, my activation threshold is like it says 130, and I want to back it down to only 95, but I won't do that anymore. I'd have to fall back beneath 95 and get back over it. Which you can do with the slider pretty easily, but if you're actually hooked up to a real device, you can't just control that. So it's not just a matter of I want to reset the module, it's I want to trigger it if it's applicable. Ah, golly, this is tricky. Okay, hold on. So now back to VS Code. Okay, so in this case, we want to trigger it if prior threshold is not equal to module dot or okay. So here I'm saying we trigger the module if the prior threshold is not equal to the current one and the heart rate's over the current one. So you send it back really low, and we see that the heart rate is now over the current threshold. The other condition is if the prior heart rate is less than the threshold, and the new heart rate is over the threshold. So that's the rising edge. So I think both in that would work in either case. And then likewise here we have, I think this is the way to do it. This and it's less than. I think that's correct. So then we're saying if our threshold changes and the current heart rate is now less than the threshold, we immediately deactivate the module. I think that's correct. I think this is the correct way to do it. Now, the programmer engineer in me is seeing a lot of terms that look similar, and I'm wondering if I can optimize this, but there's no reason to do that. Important programming lesson is to not over-optimize. There's no need to do it. It doesn't matter. Only I care about this, and all that saves me is maybe a couple lines in this 500-line class, which I don't really care about. It's plenty readable, and that's what matters. That's really what matters on an enterprise application like this. I'm not fighting for performance, thank God, because it's a really lightweight and relatively small application. It's just, okay. So that's good. So now all I need to do is find a way to get the prior threshold of every expression module, and I think I know how to do well, yeah, okay. I can either track that here, which I don't really want to do, or I can go to my expression module, and I can add a field here. Set expression index. Wait, how did I... Module.threshold. Why do I not see... Oh, it's right here. I'm blind. Right? That's where all my ternaries come from. I'm like, oh, I can simplify this. I see that one boolean drives another, and I can just simplify this with the ternary. But it always bites me in the ass every time. Every single time. Okay. So I think... okay, this just reads the literal text as it was. That's less helpful than I wanted. I was hoping there was a callback on here that fires every time you update the threshold number, so we could just record the prior one easily. Because I feel like they should track that by themselves. And what do we call on this? We do set expression state. Nothing to do with the actual module. What is the right way to handle doing this? Because, I mean, there's an easy way, right? The most simple way I could think of for doing this is I create a map in here where we map modules to their prior values. But that requires having a whole second collection of these modules in this. Like, right now we just have a list. And ideally I'd be able to just strap the prior value on the module itself, which I guess I could still do. If we want to just... yeah, let's prototype this. Alright, so we're going to do public int prior threshold equal to 0. Let's see if my logic here works. And then if it does work, we can make it better. At the end of all this, we're going to do module.prior threshold equals module.threshold. No need for a map. We can just do it like so. Okay, does this work? Let's check it out in Unity. Okay, so now if I, what do I want to do here? Outputs. 130. Yes. As soon as I make it 130, it deactivates the expression. And now similarly, if I go back to 95, it turns it back on. Okay, so this works. That's one solution. So now I would like to, and now I guess this kind of is an optimization thing. I don't like having public variables that can be set externally like this. So I would like some way for this to be able to record this on its own. But I don't know what the right way to do that would be. It needs some kind of tracker, I guess. And so all I have right now is I'm literally just reading the text as it were. String to byte. This dot threshold text. I could add something in there. In the string to byte. That'd be a side effect, which you don't really want to do. I could have it like whenever you pass in a value here, check if it's consistent with an existing value, and record it otherwise. I wasn't expecting this to be tricky, but I guess it is. I also don't know if it's really worth getting hung up on. I don't see an elegant solution immediately. Maybe it's just fine. For the sake of a stream, maybe I'll optimize it later. Maybe this is a case where I do a to-do. This shouldn't be public. Ideally, there'd be like a method, or really ideally, it should just be able to handle it itself. But I don't know how this would know that it's being claimed. Like, there's no method here which the set expression is setting what expression it is going to trigger, but the plugin is the one that actually sets the state of the expression of the module. The module is just a data structure, basically. So I don't know a better way to do that. Maybe this really is fine. But hey, that's a bug wiped clean off of the slate here, which is good. Okay. Who's pinging me? Why am I being pinged? Okay. Not important. Or rather, I will get to it later. Cool, I'm happy that we were able to solve a bug at the very least. Now it's time to actually do some math, though, I think. I should commit this before I break the rest of my code. That should be it. Hold on, I'm going to do that right now, actually, I feel like. How do I manage rewards? Manage rewards and challenges. Add new custom reward. Give your reward a name. commit reminder for 10 bones. Alright. Create. Perfect. There we go. Yes, exactly. Save check but for wrong. I'm very good about remembering to hit Control S to save every time I type lines. I do this on web pages too, which is a problem. Where I'll Control S after I type something like a tweet, and then it'll be like, you want to save the HTML? And I'm like, no, never mind. But I'm bad about remembering to commit my code, so I will redeem my commit reminder right now. There we go. Brand new chat redeem. Let's see. Git add. Commit. Fixed expression, module threshold, and state bugs. Git and push. There we go. That's 100% valid. Thank you. Thank you. I strive to be valid, so that's good to hear. Yeah. I'll hit Control S when I'm like trying to send somebody a message on Discord. When I type a tweet, it's very, very ingrained into me as a software engineer. Anytime I finish writing any line, I will hit Control S. Even when it is not a text file. Okay, so now I'm going to try and detangle this beast. Because every time I look at this, my eyes glaze over. It's completely super terse. I can walk us through what's happening here, though. So we have two very similarly functioning blocks of math. The goal is to have a cycle, an oscillating value that goes between, I think, -1 and 1, I think. Or 0 and 1. And the idea is to only ever change the frequency of oscillation when we get back to the middle point. When it's like zero, quote unquote, zeroed out, which I think in this case is actually 0.5. I think these go from 0 to 1. And so 0.5 is the midpoint. And so that way, you don't have a large jump in value if you change the frequency mid-cycle. It'll wait until the next cycle. Yeah, it says right here. Only change frequency after a complete cycle to avoid stuttering. For breathing, this is a frequency driven entirely by your current heart rate divided by 60. And then for pulse, these are actually very similar. I'm not sure how these are different now that I think about it. Pulse is like very literal. I think there's like damping I applied to the breathing one that makes it not as extreme. Because you're not going to want to have your model do the breathing animation like 180 times a minute, even if that's your pulse. This is like, I think, dampened in some way. But like, I can't fucking read this. Why did I write it like this? Math max 0.35, comma, breath time. Then the second parameter of this max value is a ternary. Like, why would I do this? What the fuck was I thinking? I have no idea. Yeah, like, I just do not know what I was thinking here. I hope Bon is typing angry letters to me right now in the chat. If not, I hear her typing. I warned you about the ternaries, bro, but it just keeps happening. Yeah, okay. The pulse one, the one that is literally just your heart rate in BPM, I think is a lot more clear. We have the pulse in radians, 2 times pi, times the pulse frequency. I don't remember what time in this case is measuring. But, I mean, this is just the function for a sine wave, right? Frequency times time. Time is equal to... oh my god, yes, this is what I'm talking about. So, if the radians is... if you've basically completed a full cycle, or your frequency is equal to 0, time zeroes back out. Otherwise, just use the current existing value for time. Okay. Then frequency if time is equal to 0. Wait, what? What? Like, what does this mean? What? What? Okay. Gang. Does this not read if time is equal to 0 times 2? Right? That's what this says right here, right? Order of operations says that this is saying if pulse time is strong equals to 0 times 2, right? If that's the case, your frequency is the heart rate over 60. Otherwise, use the current prevailing heart rate. Right? That's what this says 0 times 2, right? Not sure. Why did I write this? I hope no, it can't. I don't think you can do that in C#. I don't think you can multiply booleans by numbers. I don't think it'll let you. Let's find out. A is equal to true. Okay, thank God. Yeah. Okay, you can't do this. JavaScript will let you do this. C# will not let you do something nearly as dumb. Okay, so that's not what it's doing here. Oh, actually, also, while I'm yeah, I don't think C#. Well, I'd say it is nice in that it's not letting me do that. There's nothing nice about multiplying a boolean by an integer or a float. Like that's not something you should want to do. But while I'm here, I forget that I'm going to need to become somebody else briefly. Pardon the... Wait, is the webcam working again? Huh. There we go. I need to be her for just a little bit. I need to set... where is it? I think my video capture groups are working again, which is good, though. It never remembers this for some reason. Input. Breath. Controls. Output. Breathing. Okay. So I need to be Denshi's character here, Akari, because I need to control my breathing rate, and I don't have a breathing parameter on Skeletom. So just as a quick demonstration of what we're going to be doing here, or how this works, when it loads up, you can see that the character is breathing quite heavily, because I've got a decently high heart rate, not really resting. Hold on a second, I'm going to zoom her in so you can see it more clearly. As I like crane my neck and make her look like she's breaking her own neck in protest here. Alright, hold on. How do I do this? Zoom. There we go. That's what I look like. That's me. This is the character I identify as. Okay. So the goal here is when I have a really low rate, you can see her breathing is normal. But then if I jack it all the way up, you can see she's like panting now. So there's that. Yeah, okay. And so then, like, again, if I crank it back down, it'll slow down, and it won't interrupt mid-cycle. She'll only start breathing heavily after she completes the cycle. It used to look really, really bad before. There was terrible stuttering, where the value was, changing mid-cycle. Very bad. Okay, so this we can confirm works. I'm being pinged again. Not important. Okay. So I'm going to see what happens if I remove these 2s from these ternaries, because I don't know why that would be a thing. Hopefully this still works the same. That's why I'm swapping a Akari here now. Breathing looks normal. Jack it up. Breathes fast again. Okay, those twos were completely pointless. I have no idea. Okay, now this is bad. It keeps making a new profile for... I gotta ask Denchi about this. I don't know why it keeps making a new UUID for Akari. Which is bad, because it means it's not saving her profile every time. Every time there's a VTube Studio update, her UUID changes. So I gotta ask Denchi about that. He told me there's a thing in the logs I can check. I will do that right after the stream today. Now that it has happened a third time. Oh, I wasn't showing Unity, sorry. Problem is, I noticed when I went to go make, or check the breathing parameters for Akari here, that there wasn't anything set, because there should be expressions and whatnot. If I, like, copy? There we go. This is how it should be. Yeah. And so, this is exactly what I use in the demo video. But it looks like when I went to go see if there are other profiles to copy, it's making a new one for her every time, which shouldn't be how this works. Because models should have a persistent UUID that is permanent no matter what. Like, for example, Skeletom has never changed, and there's a couple other built-in models, but Akari seems to get a new one every time. And I think this has to do with what I was remarking about before, where it seems like it never remembers a breathing parameter. So I wonder what's going on under the hood. I'll have to investigate, but that's not for the stream. That's a VTube Studio concern. Okay, so removing the 2's from this math equation made this, stay put. So my other goals here are, you'll see I've got breath time and breath frequency as member values of the heart rate plugin here. I don't really want that. I don't want them to be able to be altered by any other code, so I'd like to encapsulate them. So I'm going to make, I guess, a new class. This would be tools, utils, maybe? This will be like a... Let me make sure I spelled oscillating right. Two L's in oscillating. I spelt it wrong. Cool. Oscillating value. There we go. Alright, ooh, that's fun. There we go. Oscillating value. So what I want to do is just encapsulate all of that nonsense into a class. Because then I won't have to worry about tracking these like, both the breath and the pulse do a thing where they're tracking the previous T value and the F value, and I'm exposing that to everything else in here. So, okay, what do we need here? We need private float frequency, float frequency, 0, private float time equals 0. Alright, so let's start with pulse. This one's the easiest. These are going to have an output value of public. So we're going to simplify this so it's nice and easy to read. Radians equals this times this dot frequency times this dot time. This dot time is equal to radians so what I'm doing, I should comment these also. This would be a good time to comment my code, which I think is valuable to do in math-heavy situations like this. Let's see. Started doing a bit more in Unity and C# recently, and so nice compared to IntelliSense actually works, right? It's amazing. I have I've done a couple streams for this before. I have a Discord bot that I build entirely in vanilla JavaScript for Node, not even TypeScript, and just the simple act of making a like a type def like this for it in JavaScript will actually give IntelliSense like strongly typed pointers about what different values can be and like what properties exist on the object. It's a miracle. I honestly don't even feel like I need TypeScript because of how powerful the IntelliSense is for JavaScript in VS Code. It's a lifesaver. I've had entire streams where I just go through and document my stuff because it makes my life easier in the long run. And it's all available on my GitHub if anybody ever wants to see it. Okay. So here what we're saying is reset time value to 0 after a complete So we basically reset our time value after we do a complete cycle when our radians are 2 pi, because that's how circles work. Only reach frequency after a complete cycle to avoid stuttering. So this dot frequency is equal to this dot time. And then so we need some way to inject a value here, I think. Get value float. Like so. New frequency. No, that's not how I should do it. I should be able to basically queue up a new frequency that I want this thing to be next time around, I think. No, this is right. This is right. This dot. Because if I had buffering for that, it would have some weird latency where like if you're I'm trying to think how to explain it. Wait, time. How do I explain that? I'm deep in thought now. If I could queue up new frequencies to set this to, if they oscillated a lot in the time it takes to finally reach a complete cycle, you'd have very weird buffering. Oh wait, hold on, what happened here? Oh. There we go. And then return. I think that's what I want to do. I think. And then to use this, I can get rid of all of this. And do pulse.value is equal to where are we putting this? The big problem I have with making my text so big that everybody can read it is now I don't remember where any of my stuff is. Okay, these guys. Private. Nope, can't use pulse. So I'd have that right there. And then that. Pass in a new frequency to try and use. Huh? Huh? What's the issue? What's the issue? Expected semicolon. Why would there be a semicolon there? Oh, that's why. Wait, no, it's like that. Okay. And then I can do something similar for breathing. Though basically the only difference between breathing and this one... Oh, I did a hand gesture that made a... Or I think I hit a number on my keyboard. Akari's model is interesting. I've never used a partial class. I don't know why you'd want that. It seems like it would make things more confusing. Sorry, I hit a number on my keyboard that triggered an expression on Akari here. And now I don't like that those are bound to numbers by default. There we go. Whatever. That made her go all wide-eyed like that. They're just bound to the number keys. Very unsuitable for programming, but she is the closest model on hand that I have that has a breathing parameter. Okay. Okay, oscillating pulse. So then the only difference between, as I was saying, breathing and pulse is for breathing, there's a like a lower limit of, I guess, a certain frequency. That's really the only difference. And then, yeah, these are the same. So for the sake of demonstrating this, I'm going to comment all this shit out. We're going to do breath.value. Wonder if I could even abstract this out further into like what am I thinking? Like a single function, like the math.sign, like math.oscillate. I don't know. Oscillating breath. Get value, and it's the same thing. Yeah, so I don't know what the use case for a partial is. Millennium Cyborg, I have no idea. I've never used one in practice. I've never thought about using one. It seems like it would just be rough. Okay. Okay. So it looks like the breathing still works. Perhaps too hyper. I mean, I guess you'd never have an actual heart rate of 255. Yeah, okay. Cool, so that works. The oscillating class I made seems to do its job for encapsulating what I needed to encapsulate. But now comes the fun part. So I've got these guys. The fun part is figuring out how to set this up so that you can dampen it. Because again, there's like a lower limit I had on. So my goals here are two parts. I wanted to encapsulate this, so I was just focusing on the math part, which we succeeded in doing. But now I need to be able to add like a bounds, I guess, to this. I guess that'd be part of the constructor, which is fine. And I also need some way to center the range. So like the complaint was that no matter what you set as your expected minimum and maximum frequencies, your breathing would always be exactly as heavy at a given pulse, no matter how you set it up. People didn't like that. They'd rather have like the slowest possible breathing around their minimum or thereabout. And I gotta figure out how one would go about doing that. First thing I can definitely do, though, is we can add a constructor to this. Public. Oscillating value. Float. Minimum. And then Quincy. There we go. We got our private values for this. Private float min. Max. Okay, so, we can specify minimum frequencies and a maximum frequency, so we can clamp these things. Unless that should be... No, this shouldn't be part of the constructor. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. No constructor. We're fine. These are going to be parameters you pass into the function every time. New frequency, float, min. It's purely functional. There's no reason that needs to have memory of this. Okay. So then we do this frequency. Where did we do this before? Over here. Frequency is equal to math.max. Time to nest some ternaries again. Time to fuck everything up all over again. This dot frequency equal to clamp, I think is what I want. This dot frequency, min frequency, and max frequency. Yep, there we go. That's all I wanted. And then we can do 0.35. And pulse has no minimum frequency, because it's just literally your pulse with no opinionation about it. Okay, let's make this really dramatic, actually. Minimum frequency for this is going to be 0.5 for breathing. This should be very, very apparent. When I go to flatline my pulse right now, it will not make my character stop breathing. So very, very high breath rate, because I have an inhumanly high 163 BPM. And I flatline, but I'm still breathing at about a cycle of a half second. So that's the minimum that I had kicking in. And conversely, I could demonstrate that this works by setting a maximum for my breath here, where the maximum rate is like 2. Instead of being able to vibrate out of control like I was just doing. Go back to Unity here. So again, very decent minimum breath rate here. If I crank it up to hamster heart rate, I'm not like vibrating. It's pretty fast, but it's like that for most of the way. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I've got this so it's clamped properly, which is good. I'm not gonna put an upper limit on that yet. So that means I can get rid of all of this. We've done some good work here. I'm gonna move these to where they belong now. I don't know where that is, but somewhere. Miscellaneous. I had like a shifting average. Here we go. Actually, this will go beneath these parameters, like so. Like so. And now the question is, can I get it so that the... can I get it so that the... Actually, I probably don't need... Now that I think about it, I shouldn't need to specify min and max here. It can be controlled by the thing calling this. I could put the clamp function on the new frequency function, I think. Yeah. Oh well. Whatever. We'll refactor that in a moment. Yeah. But what I'm trying to think is, so what I want to do is basically center this minimum value when it like. I don't even know how to describe this. Basically, I want it so that if you set your resting heart rate to very, very high, you will still get your slow breathing rate at that high heart rate. And I'm not sure what the best way to do that is off the top of my dome here. I kind of think it shouldn't be that way, biologically speaking, but the user is typically always right with what they want with software. I just don't know how to do that. But what I do know is I shouldn't need to specify these here. Get rid of this. Some real-time refactoring. Clamp. Yeah, that looks right. So in this case now it is up to the calling function to clamp that rate instead of the thing itself. Doesn't need to know that, so we clamp it before we even pass it in. That makes sense to me. And then actually, yeah, I wouldn't need to make this think about what's the phrase? This wouldn't need to think about that centering. That would be controlled by here, because now we can specify very easily what we want this new heart rate to, or new frequency rate to be. And this shouldn't just be driven on heart rate. This needs to be modified based on okay, hold on. So can I do heart rate minus this dot min? Approximately, something like that. Is it that easy? It might be that easy. That'll zero me out at whatever I specify for my minimum here. So if I go to 70, I've got a, okay, so let's observe. Observe my breathing right now at 70, and now I'm going to drop it even further to 20 is my minimum rate. Okay, let's make this more extreme. My resting is 110. So we're going to crank it up to 110. And do I just look like I'm normal breathing? I do. Okay. Cool. Cool. Do you not want to replace the divide by 60 with divide by max? Are you saying replace 60 with max minus min? Because divided by 60 is just a function of time. Heart rate is measured in beats per minute, right? And then I divide that by 60 to get, what does that get me? Yeah, it's to just get the, I don't know what the unit would be. So it works out. You're gonna have to trust me. I'm too far in my cups, and it's too late in the evening for me to think about what the unit would be, or why that's correct. But I think this is correct how I have it right now. So I'm at 110 with my resting. If I crank this back down to my actual resting of like 65. I think you can see a noticeable increase in breathing rate, I think. If I crank this all the way down to 25, I should be like dying. Yeah, okay. It's working as expected. I'm probably gonna need to fiddle around with the actual numbers and like the flooring for this and such, because like if you have a 110 resting rate, I would think that even if you go like way below 110, you'd want this to become really slow. But right now, anything below 110 is going to be the same, approximately. Approximately. But it's an improvement. It's a step in the right direction. I'm sure there's some weird, like, smoothing constants I can use here. So yeah, we're gonna do float. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That works out. I think I do the casting in the right order here. I'm not sure. I don't know if it actually matters or not. Cool. That's actually like a majority of the math I wanted to get through today is like done right here. Got through 2 bugs and a refactor to encapsulate some math, so that's always good. Gives me very clear control over how my variables work. Doesn't confuse me with all the other stuff. That's good. Yeah, so we've got our heart rate minus the minimum, so this will zero it out. Oh, God. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it, Fancy Man Pyro. I don't know what compelled you now of all times to unleash the gift sub, but in order. Thank you for giving a gift sub to Tahoe, Gyaj, Rodea, Captain Crooked, and Ert. This rules because I recognize all of those names. These are like people that I recognize as coming to my streams and are not just randos. Though I don't really think I have anybody I'd qualify as a rando who shows up to these streams. I recognize most of the folks who stop by at this point. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Fancy Man. I hope the wheels of fate and karma will repay you in kind someday, sooner rather than later. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Everybody will get access to the best emote in twitch.tv. Skeletom118 give pizza. The best. Simply the best. Thank you very much. I gotta come up with a new spiel, because I used to just give the whole Skeleton War lecture anytime somebody give a follow. But now I gotta come up with what happens if you pay to be a member of the Skeleton crew. I feel like I would have a very backhanded way of talking to people like that. Where it's like, what kind of moron would pay money for this? I think that's actually what the pop-up even says. Is like, such and such paid money for this. But I do genuinely appreciate it. It's very kind. Very good gesture. If I were in my normal model right now, I'd... Skeleton War benefits. God. I don't want to talk about buying into the Skeleton War economy. That's fucked up and too on the nose right now. Yeah. LOL indeed. That's about all I can say about it. But I thank you. You get the best emote in twitch.tv. Okay, I think I'm actually gonna call it relatively soon though. I'd normally go until 10, but I don't actually have any more items on my to-do list. I'm looking at it. Altering the threshold for an expression will not modify the state of the expression. We've solved that. Breathing parameter should floor what the user sets at a minimum rate. We've done that. No icon, I've solved that. Make new input methods, I've done that. So the only things I've got left on my to-do list right now are, like, eye in the sky, or, no, that's not the word, what is it, pie in the sky, I think is the phrase. Like, optimism, things like being able to support Fitbit, Ant Plus, and Google Fitness, and none of that is stuff I'm going to do in 40 minutes, or even really get started in 40 minutes. A lot of that is setting up dev accounts on these various services, like Google Fitness, for example. I spent a lot of time last week getting a dev account and getting credentials set up so that I could get authentication for such. I guess the only other bug that I still have here is what we were looking at before with the thing not loading in the proper order when I finish a save. Or when I load from a save file. So, like, I can make a new expression module here for angry at 200. And when I come back and load this, this will be above the 110, which is backwards and wrong, and I don't understand why it's doing that. Yeah, so behold. Yep, 200 is above the 110. I don't get why it's doing this. It seems very, very backwards. I guess I'll take the next couple minutes and see if I see an obvious answer in the code as to why it's doing that. But otherwise, I'll probably call it, because I didn't really plan on streaming today anyway, and this is actually very, very productive. More so than usual. I'm quite pleased with myself. Alright. So how do we do this again? We have our... From the top, we load our model data. Did I pass it? Save, load global, get model, save model, load global. Am I blind? Why am I not seeing it? Load global data, modernize. Oh, load model data. Okay, here we go. So from the top, we load model data, yes, into here. This will clear all of the existing modules that we have. I'm going to go back to being me. I don't like being a Kari anymore. I don't need to debug parameters. This is just... It feels wrong. It just feels wrong. Don't mind that I'm so small, though. That's neither here nor there. Much better. That's how it should be. I don't know why I'm ticked off, though. Oh. Activate at 95, deactivate at 140. Is it a bug? Did I just make a new bug? I actually don't know what I'm looking at here. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I don't feel like thinking about that right now, but I'm going to write that down. Yeah, solve old bug, make a new bug. all I can think of is it is looking at my activate threshold of 95. My heart rate was below that when I loaded in, but the prior threshold, I don't know. I don't feel like thinking about that right now. I am focused on this. So again, if I make a new, or I don't even need to make a new one. I can just look at in the code here. We can see I've got 95 and 140 in that order, and then in Unity. Oh wait. Oh wait. There's no bug. What am I talking about? Or is there? Wait, now, okay, seems like the order is just kind of random, actually, which is not what I wanted. That doesn't make sense. 95, 140. But now in Unity, we have 140. So, okay, yeah. Back to VS Code. My save file says 95, 140. And then in Unity, it is 140, 95. I don't think this actually matters, and I don't know anyone would actually care. It just strikes me as strange that they're not coming in the order that I would tell them to come in. So it worries me in that regard, but I don't. I'm struggling to care. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the changes we've just made so far. Resting of 90. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably fine. I don't see why this would be. I'm scratching my head, metaphorically. If I had hands, I'd be doing it right now. Create the module, create the instance. See, the index is maximum of either 1 or the active child count. -3, because we've got a bunch of stuff we want to get past. Set the sibling index as whatever. So this should make every new entry in the list should be closer to the bottom, but not the very last thing, is how this should work. And we initialize its data. No, it's the same one. It's the same one. I'm going to keep working on this pretty much forever, I think. This is like my baby. How's it going, Tommy? You missed a gift bomb earlier. You could have been you. You could have caught the fly ball. No, this is the same one. I was doing some cleanup and stuff. I solved a bunch of bugs that people had reported. I've now seen this plugin get used for. I've seen it get used for Ring Fit Adventure, which was its God-given purpose. Why I invented this plugin was specifically for Ring Fit Adventure. I've seen Lua used it on an elliptical, or has done so multiple times now, which is pretty cool. I don't have an elliptical, but she does actual workout streams with real workout equipment and not just Ring Fit, so that's neat. And another person I know has used it for a Dance Dance Revolution stream, which is pretty cool. So I've gotten a decent smattering of real-world use cases for this, and that's the feedback I've gotten so far, is people wanted to have the breathing be adjusted a little bit, the breathing parameter. Some bugs were found in how these thresholding expression things work. We solved those tonight. What else? I found some bugs on my own while testing this stuff. Oh, and cool news, I guess, between you and me. Me and my like 10 closest friends, or however many folks are here right now. I have Japanese localization for this plugin in the works right now. I got most of the text translated by a trusted friend. Paid, of course. I'm not looking for pro bono translation work. Translators do not get paid enough as is, so you gotta make sure you pay them well. So I'm gonna try and get this and all of its tooltips all localized. Bug fixing, that's why. I might have introduced a new bug. I'm not sure. When I loaded in my model, I was all pissed off. It, like, activated my angry mode right away. Oops. And I don't know why. Oh. Okay. I'll have to debug that offline though, because I'm not going to do it now. I think that's pretty much it for me though. I normally go until 10. As I was saying, I don't think I'm going to solve this problem now. I don't really care. As for my next stream, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't think I'll be here next weekend. Sheesh. What's the sheesh for, Tommy? Wait, you've blindsided me with the sheesh. I don't know what this means. Are you upset with me? Have I wronged you? Have I become inept as a streamer? Am I not living up to your expectations? I'm sorry. What does it mean? Thank you for the stream, yes. And thank you for the gift subs. Generous. Wear that gift leader #1 badge with pride, I suppose. I gotta get sub icons. Sub badges. Badges is the word. Now that I have this enabled. That's one thing I gotta do. Okay, so yeah, what was my train of thought? Next stream, I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow. Next time I do stream on a Sunday, I'm going to do a pizzatsudan. I want to get back to cooking. But that's not going to be tomorrow because I don't have the wherewithal to do it. Also, I might not have power tomorrow because we're in the middle of a blizzard right now. And so I don't want to bank on a big expensive production when I could just lose any piece of the puzzle at any point in time. So it'll probably be next time for me will be not next Saturday because I'll probably be traveling, but next Sunday, and that will probably be said pizzatsudan. Bon is always streaming on Mondays. She'll be continuing with her, I think, Master Grade Virtue. Gonna give Bon Bombs the shout out right now. There we go. Like so. Makers and crafting, so she's gonna be working on that. And then yeah, all good. And then also again, but between you and me, you being my 10 closest friends and me being me, I have not made a tweet about this still, but I am participating with Bon in Plimo Weekender at the end of April, which is a 2-day weekend charity event, kind of like how Games Done Quick works, where everybody is building plastic models of typically Gunpla. I pitched doing Lego, but because they had so many people come in, I couldn't get a second slot. So I will instead be doing something pretty novel with my co-conspirator Bon here. That's going to be at the end of April. That's something really big and exciting to look forward to. We've got a lot of prep work to do in terms of hardware and software, and getting our kits ready and practicing for that. It's going to be a fun event. So look forward to it. Please anticipate delivery. Please wait warmly. It's a charity event, so get those wallets ready. The charity in question is the Prevent Alzheimer's Foundation. I should probably have known what the name of the charity is before speaking it out loud. It is a Alzheimer's cure research charity, is what I remember about it. I think it's called Prevent Alzheimer's Foundation. And that's what Bad Gunpla, the guy who runs the event, has been donating to every year he's done it. Very happy to be a part of it this year. I was inspired to audition because our great leader, Hoshino Char, was in it last year as the sole VTuber representative. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And now there's so many of us, so many VTubers. So it'll be a good time. Look forward to it, as I said. Please anticipate the delivery. And I think that's going to do it for me. I'm going to redeem my commit reminder and find somebody to raid. Who is up right now? Anybody have any recommendations before I go and find someone? Were there other VTubers last year? I don't remember. Shit! I guess really what it was last year is I only knew Char. I was a brand new idiot baby in the world of VTubing and I didn't know anybody. So I only recognized Char. Cool. Well, I'm gonna head out. Yeah, and that's the hashtag. I'm gonna raid Dot because Dot is playing retro right now. Dot level. Dot's a real class act. She's great at keeping the crowd and conversation and such. So I think you'll have a fun time over there if you're still looking at watching streams. Otherwise, if you bounce, you know, whatever. give him the pizza if you get there. Please give Dot some pizza. She deserves it. And I will see you guys on next Sunday. Will probably be my next stream. Until then, bonus era and good night.